Hi Blues, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Mersey Blue podcast, or the Andy's Man Club Mersey Blue podcast, more to the point. So we are a couple of days later from the Villa game. That is predominantly my fault because of my schedule, but I've got the guys with me tonight. So as always, we've got Mission's own Mark. How are you, mate?
Great, bud. How you guys doing?
Where are you, mate? Are you still in port?
Yep, I'm in the Port of Los Angeles. As you can see behind me, it's the old shipping board that we don't use anymore, but they gave me the back office to record my pod, and I've actually got a few new listeners.
Yeah, we did. We give a shout out there, didn't we, to the SoCal boys and girls last week, last episode, and also with us, of course, is our co-host Carl, who's a little bit closer in Liverpool. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, mate, and you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, boys, all good. Okay, so let's kick it off then, folks. So we went with the 4-2-3-1. We had Pickford between the sticks, Big Jake out at right back, Tarkowski and Keane in the middle, with Jimmy Garner at left back. Miko, Garner Guy and Timmy Inabunam in the middle, and then that lovely midfield of the little magician Ilian Njai, KDH, and of course Jackie G, all behind Beto. So I'll start first, boys, if I may, with the first half, or my couple little ideas, a little bit of a summary. So I thought we started really well. I don't think they offered anything at all. We had the chance after a couple of minutes. I think is Ilian Njai, he passed it to Beto, and he really should have tested the keeper. Early chance, bad miss in my opinion. Then we went on to the quarter of an hour mark, around about 16 minutes, and again, another good chance. Big Jake O'Brien had the throw-in from the edge of the area. I think it's the right-hand side. Ball comes over. Michael Keane heads it on. I think it's may have been Beto. I think who swung at it, and the ball comes back. Jackie Grealish has a nice little volley. Emilio Martinez, the keeper, saved with his feet. Quite a fortunate save. I thought Jackie was unlucky not to actually open his account there for the Blues. Corner from Jimmy Garner on the half-hour mark. Michael Keane, heads over. Should really have done better. And then right at the end of the half, Idrissa Gana-Gueye, ball breaks. I think it was Jack Grealish. No, it wasn't. It was Jimmy Garner who laid it off to him from the edge of the area. And he just unleashed one. Went right over. Not even a barn door. More of a rosette kind of shot. My opinion, boys, I thought we should have been at least 2-0 up. I thought we were cruising. Plenty of early chances, just not clinical enough in front of goal for me. Mark, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd like to start with a positive first. The statistics don't really tell the tale, because it says that we only had the ball possession for 52% of the time, but that's misleading because the pitch was tilted towards their goal. I mean, even though it says we only have 52%, it says that 60% of the play was from midfield onward towards the Villa end. I looked at the heat maps. Jackie G's got that left side locked down. Our defensive players are covering very well. We only gave up one shot, and that was a wet noodle of a shot. Jordan didn't really have to break a sweat for that one. So no defensive lapses. Love that. Michael Keane, for me, was the man of the match, because we know in years past he's not been in top form, but he was all over the place. He played both ends of the pitch. He had 2 solid header attempts. In fact, Martinez, who I don't care for, had to make a fingertip save going over the bar, and I believe Keno hit the woodwork on a different attempt. It was great to see Merlin Rule come on. I would like to see him get more minutes, but I'll save more on that for the second half roundup. But Beto, nobody gets into open space like that guy. I love his work rate. I love that when they asked him what kind of animal he would be, he said he would be a wolf that climbs the mountain but never reaches the top. I love that philosophy. I love him. I don't want to take a shit on him, but holy fuck, does that guy have a terrible first touch. The first attempt that we had, he kicked it off his own heel. How do you do that? Then he had some through passes that he tried to play off of his thigh, and it was 2 or 3 of them that trickled over the end line. You know, he couldn't keep up with his own touch. He got service right in front of the net, spun around, goalie made the save. Not much you can do there. At least he got it on net. And then my only other critique, even though I love the way that the guys are creating opportunities and covering defensively very well, is that it seems like we're holding off to make beautiful plays instead of just being aggressive. I'd like to see more 2015, 2016 Lester Fox type football. Run fast, kick hard, create chaos, pick up the rebounds. You know, Jack is such a great player, but he holds that ball over on the left side for so long, and he's looking to cross it in, looking to make a play. Just, I'd like to see more of the guys firing it when they have the space and time, and forcing the goalie to make a save, and then maybe picking up the junk. But I'm super happy with our performance. Not so much with the result. I thought the refereeing was atrocious. I think we should have been a handball. If the fucking guy was wearing a blue shirt, you guys know it would have been a handball. So those are my first half thoughts.
Excellent. Cheers, mate. Carl?
I couldn't agree more than what Mark said. Beto, I thought, was our worst player on the pitch until he went off. How he's a striker, I don't know. The only player I've seen with a bad touch, but he could score a goal, like as a striker, was Lukaku. He didn't have the greatest first touch. He was classed as saying he couldn't throw a bag of cement. Well, this guy's worse. At least Lukaku put the ball in the net. He knew where it was, and he could stick it in. 2 or 3 chances, as we said, early in the first half. We should have been dead and buried them. And because of how he didn't start Thierry Barry is beyond me. Because when he came on in the second half, I had to go on to talk about. I thought he was like a bright spot up there. He had one chance towards the end which he cut through. He probably should have done better, but he's probably not getting the time on the pitch at the minute. But other than that, I thought the whole team. James Garner to back in at left back. He's never played there before. This couple of games where Mick has been injured, and he's done a fantastic job. I was kind of hoping that he would play him in midfield, because obviously that's where he's more creative. And if we'd have had Miko, or even Patterson, like he was on the bench, he could have played left back. I don't know how fit he was, whether he could have gone there. But overall, quite pleased. I think we started quite slow going forward. I think it wasn't like the energetic style that we've seen in previous games. I think that let us down a little bit. It was more like once Grealish got it, he had 2 or 3 men around him. And especially, I think it was in the first half, both fullbacks for Villa got booked. And I thought, that's a good sign that one of them might end up going off. And as Mark said, the referee was wank. How he didn't give a handball is beyond me.
Yeah, that the referee, I was actually going to touch upon that, like my kind of like final match thoughts. I'm sure I will come back to that. But what an absolute wazzock. Wasn't he? He was shocking. I will jump back on that at the end of my second half summary, boys. But yeah, he was terrible. He really was. So we are going to take it there, guys, to a break by our sponsor, the wonderful Andy's Man Club, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds. Life is hard, and we all have bad days. There are times when we feel we can't cope. This is the time we need to reach out and talk to someone. Andy's Man Club offers local support groups nationwide, running every Monday from 7pm except on bank holidays. In these groups, men can open up about the issues affecting their lives in a safe, non-judgmental environment. Our clubs are designed to be free of pressure. There is no obligation for men to speak, they can simply listen if they wish. Find us today at www.andysmanclub.co.uk. Help one guy, save one life. Andy's Man Club, it's good to talk. Welcome back, Blues. That was Andy's Man Club there, our fantastic sponsors. It's good to talk. Okay, so the second half started much the same as the first, with another Beto miss. He just basically shot wide. It was like a beautiful ball that come over, like a diagonal ball into the area. Jimmy Garner again. We were talking off air at half time here, and we were just saying about his first touch is just absolutely shocking. And then for me, Villa's only opportunity in the game, Buendia it was, picked the ball up midfield, just ran at the Everton defence, and he unleashed a fucking rocket. I'm not sure who it hit, but it deflected off someone and it went flying towards like the top corner. Luckily for us, I think Jordan would have had it, but it went wide. That was like their only real chance. I don't think, again, they really offered an awful lot. Certainly not the Villa of old, I'd say. On the hour mark, Dewsbury Hall, he managed to get a shot off that was saved, and it was weird. It kind of like ping-ponged round and the ball came back out. I think it was Jake O'Brien. He hit it back in. That got blocked. Then Timmy and Brunham jumped on from like the edge of the area, he hit it, and I'm sure that got like a deflection, spun off to the left, and I think that went wide for a corner. And then a couple of minutes later, we see the introduction, like Mark had picked up earlier, of Merlin Roll for Tim Inabunam. 70 minutes gone. Absolutely beautiful left wing cross from that peg of Jackie G. Ball comes over. Keno jumps up. He heads at goalwards. Fantastic save from Martinez. He just got a fingertip to. He was going back. He tipped the ball and it went up onto the crossbar. And it was an absolutely. I was in work watching a match with the boys I support, and I just jumped up. I had like my head in my fucking hands, and I was like, Jesus Christ! I was convinced that was a goal. A couple of minutes later, 75 minutes, Beto makes way for Tierno Barry. For me, I'd have brought Barry on about the half hour, the hour mark, sorry, instead of really giving a kid like 15, 20 minutes to kind of run. And then last minute of the game, I think it was like 90 plus 2, Jackie Grealish gets in, gets to the byline, cuts back and he crosses. There's Michael Keane in the 6-yard area, and he glances ahead and just goes wide of like the right-hand side post, and that was the game. Everton 0, Villa 0. Absolutely horrible, horrific, fucking shocking refereeing decisions. I'm going to let the boys go into that because I'm sure that they're as annoyed as I am over it. I felt we were all over Villa with just no end product. If just one of them would have went in, one of Beto's, one of Keno's, we'd have won that game comfortably. I think if we'd have scored on the earlier goals, it probably could have been like a 3-0, maybe even a 4-0, Beto on another day, or maybe a striker who didn't have a first touch like a house brick may have actually hit a hat-trick, to be fair. And I don't want to beat Beto up because everybody on the show and the boys here know how much I really like him. I'm a big Beto fan, but for God's sake, please, just start finding the net. Another great performance from Jackie G. And to be fair, right across the board, I can't really knock anybody with the exception of maybe Beto's finish. And I was satisfied. I think we give a good show ourselves. I think everyone played well. James Garner at left back when he's a natural midfielder. Superstar, a couple of lovely balls, all that kind of thing. But sorry guys, 2 points dropped in my opinion, and I think the most of you Blues and certainly the lads here will agree with me. Carl, give us your thoughts on that second half, mate.
I mean, to be fair, before the match started, somebody asked me about like what I thought the score would be, and I said 1-1 because I thought, thinking about like Villa, I think they said on the commentary that I was watching that we haven't beaten them since they came back up. They've got a fantastic record against us. I thought they're a really good team. I mean, they've just been in the Champions League and whatnot, so they're going to be a solid team. We wiped them off the park. Absolutely unbelievable. Chance after chance. As you say, if we had a half-decent striker, a little bit of luck, we'd have been 2 or 3 up at half-time, and no one could have complained. It's just bizarre that, you look at Michael Keane in the second half, that was going in. All ends up until he tips it over the bar. It's like, it's in, and he suddenly comes out of nowhere, Martinez, and again, gets that save. So, at the end of the day, that could have easily been 2-3, 4-0, and no one would have complained. So, happy with the performance, brilliant performance by everybody, as you say, except Beto. He needs to be dropped and maybe, put Tierno Barry in for a game now. It's his turn to give him a game or two to try and I think we've got the Red Shite on Saturday, then we've got Wolves in the Cup next Tuesday. So give him a couple of games, try and get him used to the flow of England, and hopefully he'll get his first goals.
Yeah, fingers crossed. What are your thoughts, Mark?
I think the end result is an underperformance. Even though we looked good, even though we carried the play, even though that we didn't have any defensive lapses, Villa hasn't scored a goal this year. And then we walk away with a 0-0 draw. That's definitely 2 points that should have been gotten that we let go. We are congealing more as a team. We're coming together a lot more, but the finishing little touches aren't there. Jake O'Brien, I thought I should have spoke of him earlier. He played great. He does have a great touch for a big man. I think he's got a great touch. He's got great head skills. I was over the moon to see Merlin Rule come on. I've been watching his highlight tapes all week. I think he might even be our best signing. He only got 24 minutes, but of all of his ground duels, he won 6, lost 3. He went 2 for 4 on the aerial duels, but he had a 70% pass rate, and he covered almost the entire pitch. I love to see that. I want to see him come on way earlier. Barry, do you think he looks nervous, or do you think he's unhappy? Because I'm picking up weird vibes from him when he comes on. I don't think he's been given enough of a chance. And after watching Beto bottle all the chances that he got, I thought, like Nick said, I thought that Barry should come on a whole lot sooner, maybe even at the half mark. I hope he starts this week against Liverpool. That's my hot take. I want to see him start. Big game, big stadium, make a statement. Let's see, because it's hard to come on when the game is already in pace. It takes a while for your nerves to adjust, and I want to see him get like a real fair chance, because Beto was put on against a team that hasn't scored a goal in 4 matches, and despite getting good service, he came up empty-handed. I don't think Barry can do any worse, and it may develop him a little bit. Did Charlie come on at all? I don't think he did, and I think it would have behooved us to bring him on, which isn't to say that the other guys were playing bad, but we could have got some fresh legs out there and really ramped up the pressure. And look, Villa's back was against the wall. Their best player by far was Martinez, although I got to say, Mings is somebody that I would love to sign on our club, right? That guy's a solid defender. However, he should have gotten a couple of cards a couple of different times. And I'm a big fan of Ollie Watkins. I think he's a great player. But no, we got to do something to make these small screw adjustments and to push us over the line, because we cannot be coming away with a draw from a bottom 3 club. And right now, Villa is a bottom 3 club that hasn't scored a goal all year. So I'm a little nervous going into next week's match.
Touching on Thierry Barry, I'm not really sure. I think he's a young lad. Everyone says, and I would agree, he's raw. But I think like any striker, he needs time, he needs games, he needs that little bit of confidence. So I think that might be what it is with him. We don't see him in training. Going back to watching him sort of like in the Euros for the France under-21s, he seemed like a decent player. So I think maybe just a little bit of a run-out, like you guys were saying, maybe possibly against Wolves in the Cup. I can't see him. I'd like to see him start against the Red Shite on Saturday, but I can't see it. I honestly still think he's going to stay with Beto. With regarding the subs, there was only the 2 subs made. He left Alcaraz and everybody else on the bench. It was Merlin and Thierry that came on. We probably could have maybe had a couple more fresh legs in there. But yeah, Carl, what are your final thoughts on stuff, mate?
Yeah, as Mark said, I mean, they haven't scored a goal. I think I seen a stat at the end saying that they're the only team in English 7 divisions that haven't scored a goal right now. Everybody else in the top 7 divisions of English football has scored and they haven't. So that's another nail in the coffin, really. We should have stuck the ball in the net. And I think if Barry had started, he would have at least put one of them chances that Beto had in the net.
To be fair to Moisey, you're not pulling Grealish off to put on Alcaraz. You're not pulling KDH off for Alcaraz. You're not pulling Ndai off for Alcaraz. It just seems like we've got plenty of tools to use, and not enough places to put them. I'm just at a loss. We have so much talent. It seems it's such a different team from the last 3 years, but we got to do something to get these end results. The pressure is at the it's at the attacking end for us, but we're coming up short. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, all good points there, fellas. So our next game is away at Shitefield on Saturday. It's a 12:30 kickoff. I think the only good thing for us, without sounding negative, is I think they've got a Champions League game on Wednesday, I think. So they're playing midweek. Unfortunately, they're home. We probably could have done a nice little trip to Spain there for them to, tire themselves out a wee bit more. I'm quietly optimistic. I think we're going to go there and we're going to give them a good go. I fancy a draw. Go on, Mark.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Burnley match?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking robbery. I swear to God, the league, Liverpool has the league in their pockets. They added enough time for Liverpool to score. That didn't do it. So they ended up with a penalty like they always do. So obviously, going to the other side of the park, I'm nervous to see who our official's going to be. It just seems like, they're going to do whatever they got to do to make the narrative fit and hold their championship team up on a fucking pedestal. So I thought Burnley deserved a draw. And it makes me nervous for us because you know how that goes for us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The goalie, the referee, I think is that Paul Tierney, who's a wanker anyway. So that should be fun. It really should. Final derby thoughts, Carl?
I just think it'll be another drab game for us. We never do well in derbies, and the referee's always in their pocket, isn't he? So I expect a 1-0 defeat, unfortunately. I'd like to say that we'll get something out of the game, and I'll watch it and I'll be positive, but I just can't see it. I think if it gets towards the end, they'll get a dodgy penalty or a sporty goal like they always do against us. I mean, the amount of times that I've seen hit the crossbar and go in, or it just doesn't work for us at Anfield. Now the Dixie, when we have them in the return, I'll be more confident, bring it on. But not Saturday.
That's fair.
Well, our supporters are always the loudest in the stadium, on road games. We've got great support, and I know it's not a true road game, but you'll hear the Evertonians in there, and I think that we'll create some great atmosphere and support our club very, very well, so the boys will have that behind them. On over here in time zone +8, the Fox and the Hound over here on Ventura Boulevard, they're going to open up at 4:30 in the morning for us. And there's going to be 10 of us in there going nuts as if they can hear us, halfway around the world. So we're looking forward to that. The SoCal Evertonians, the LA Evertonians, we're excited for the match, and we were already talking shit on our Telegram group chat, and we're absolutely geeked. On a side note, the Red Shite have their own bar, but the last time they had a 4:30 game at Fox and the Hound, they asked the owner to open up early for them, and then they didn't fucking show up. So we're definitely going to have a better showing than they will, and we're definitely appreciated in that place. So we'll be there with fucking bells and brass knuckles on, ready to do war, and I'll be chatting with you guys throughout the game.
Yeah, 100%, man. Big shout out to the Fox and the Hounds, the SoCal boys. We really do appreciate your support. We really do. that pub probably didn't open, mate. It probably got a couple of flights from Norway delayed or something. So on that happy note, we got the red shite next. We have gone on for nearly half an hour, so we will end it there. Carl, thank you as always for your thoughts and input, my friend.
Not a problem, mate. It's great to have a decent start to the season for once. So hopefully we'll be on this podcast next weekend or whenever we're due to do it, and we'll have another positive result against the red shite, which we definitely deserve. We definitely need one. After the way we started, we don't want to start losing games. Because it goes on a bit of a slippery slope then, doesn't it? Before you realise that you're halfway down the table. Let's try and keep this run going. Even if as long as we don't get beat, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100% agreed. Mark, an absolute pleasure as always, mate. And do shake the hand and buy a pint for some of those SoCal boys for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Every chance I get, I'm spreading the word, and people are telling me all the time, "Oh, you're the podcast guy." So I see a few new faces every weekend, but we got some real support over here. So I'm absolutely made up to be in this group, and love these guys. We have some great atmosphere over here. So we'll be there, and I'll be chatting with you guys. And it's great to be back with you guys, by the way. This break, I know it was only 2 weeks, but it seemed like it was a month, and I'm glad we're back here doing the show again.
Yeah, man, absolutely 100%. I think all of us hate the international break, don't we? Right, we are going to leave it there. All that is left to be said is let's go up to Sheffield on Saturday. Let's kick that red shite into touch. A nice 2-0 win, and up the fucking Toffees.